Sharon felt something was about to happen. She wanted to sing along, but she didn't know how. She looked at her friends, hoping they would help her, but their faces were desperate. Adaobi and Ezen were the pride of Cantata village because they were so beautiful. Cantata village was a very small village where the villagers could almost count themselves and everyone's faces were familiar. The village was living happily, almost like a family. But there was something strange about this village. Cantata village market was small, just like their village, and not everything you needed could be found there. When the village women wanted to buy things like fancy clothes and jewelry, they had to go through a narrow road to the next village called Santa. Santa village had a very big market, and everything the villagers needed could be found there. But whenever Cantata villagers were going to Santa village through the long narrow road that joined the two villages together, they usually came across a giant snake. However, they were not afraid of the snake because they had a song they sang to it. The song made the snake not attack them. Whenever the villagers came across the snake, each and every one of them would start singing the song so that the snake would not harm them. When the giant snake saw everyone singing, it would enter the bush and leave. But if anyone who did not know this song passed through the narrow road without singing, the snake would either kill or take the person away. Everyone in Cantata village knew this song because it had been passed down from generation to generation. As small as Cantata village was, whenever something special stood out to them, they would quickly discover it and not take it for granted. They would always talk about it as if it was more than what it seemed. Adaobi and Ezen's beauty was a constant topic, whispered about and always discussed in every corner of the village. The village men couldn't help but follow their every step with their eyes. And no gathering of men was ever complete without the mention of Adaobi and Ezen. Their beauty lit up conversations, and their presence seemed to cast a spell on everyone. Everywhere they went, Adaobi and Ezen carried themselves with pride, their heads held high. They knew they were beautiful, perhaps too well. The world seemed to revolve around them, and they basked in the attention as if it were their birthright. Their beauty made them so proud that it wasn't easy for any man to get their attention. When any man approached them for marriage or a relationship, they would often say, "Did we put a signboard on our foreheads saying we need a relationship? We don't think we need any man in our lives for now. Please leave." But the winds of change arrived quietly, like an uninvited shadow. Temi and Kemi, strangers to Cantata village, arrived one sunny afternoon. They were a humble couple, but they brought with them something extraordinary. Their only daughter, Sharon. Sharon wasn't like any girl the village had ever seen. Her beauty was rare and delicate, like a flower that only bloomed once in a lifetime. It wasn't just her looks that caught attention. It was her presence. She moved with grace, her soft voice leaving everyone who heard it spellbound. Her laughter danced through the air like a melody, filling hearts with warmth. The men who once only had eyes for Adaobi and Ezen, now found themselves captivated by Sharon. Conversations at the village joints shifted. Where Adaobi and Ezen's names once dominated, now it was all about Sharon. "She shines like her name," one man said, and others nodded. "She's not just beautiful. She's different," another added. Sharon was not allowed to go out much. Her parents loved her so much that, being new to the village, they were very protective. The only time the villagers could see her was when she went to the river to fetch water. One afternoon, one of the village elders was sent from the king's palace to explain the narrow road and the snake song to Temi's family since they were new to the village. The elder came to teach them the song so that they could safely go to Santa village market. When the elder arrived at their house, he explained everything to Temi and asked him to call his family out. But Temi only called his wife and asked Sharon to continue with her chores. "Why didn't you call your daughter to join? Everyone in the village must know this song in case they ever need to pass through the narrow road." The elderly man said, his face full of concern. But Temi responded, "She has nothing to do in Santa village because we don't allow her to go out anyhow. Since her birth, we have not sent her to the market. Whenever she needs something, she tells us and we buy it for her. Just teach us the song and I will teach her later." The elder agreed and then taught Temi and Kemi the snake song. Adaobi and Ezen noticed the change. The stares that once followed them everywhere now lingered on Sharon. The whispers that used to praise their beauty now compared them to the new arrival. Pride gave way to unease. The world they had known, where they were the queens of Fasatu, seemed to crumble around them. Sharon didn't ask for the attention. But her beauty made the villagers decide she was the new beauty of Cantata village. Adaobi and Ezen's hearts burned with questions they couldn't answer. Had they been forgotten so quickly? How could someone so new steal what they had held onto for so long? And every day their jealousy grew. Sharon was unlike anyone else in the village of Fasatu. While Adaobi and Ezen, the two most celebrated beauties, carried themselves with pride and often looked down on others. Sharon's heart was pure and her kindness genuine. She was new to the village, but it didn't take long for her to win the hearts of everyone. Whenever she is returning from the river, men would approach her, drawn by her soft demeanor and warm smile. She greeted everyone equally, her eyes full of kindness that made even the grumpiest villagers feel at ease. The children especially loved her. Every evening they would gather at her parents' house, begging her to tell them stories. Sharon would sit with them, weaving tales that made them laugh, wonder, and dream. But her kindness wasn't limited to children. Sharon often helped the elders. She would carry heavy bundles of firewood for old women and fetch water for old women who were too weak to fetch water at the river. In a short time, Sharon had become the heart of the village. As the villagers' love for Sharon grew, their admiration for Adaobi and Ezen faded. It as though the two former beauties had been forgotten. No one gathered to admire them anymore. They walked through the village but no one turned to look. This shift in attention infuriated Adaobi and Ezen. They would sit under the large baobab tree behind Adaobi's father's house, whispering their frustrations to each other. "What has she done to everyone?" Adaobi fumed one evening. "They act like we don't exist anymore. It's because of her." Ezen replied bitterly. "She pretends to be so sweet and innocent." Adaobi clenched her fists. "We need to do something. We can't just let her take our place." "But what can we do?" Ezen asked, her tone uncertain. "Maybe we should get close to her," Adaobi suggested after a moment. "If we become her friends we can figure out how to take back what's ours." Ezen thought for a moment and then nodded. "That's a good idea. Let's do it." From that day, Adaobi and Ezen began their plan to befriend Sharon. One morning Sharon went to the river to fetch water. As she struggled to lift the heavy bucket onto her head, Adaobi and Ezen rushed over. "Let us help you," they exclaimed, their voices full of false concern. Sharon smiled at them, her heart touched by their gesture. Together they carried their water and walked back to the village. Along the way, Adaobi and Ezen flattered Sharon with sweet words. "Our village must feel so new to you," Adaobi said, her tone warm. "It's lovely," Sharon replied softly. "Everyone here is so kind and always art like they were all from the same mother." Adaobi and Ezen exchanged quick glances, pleased that their plan was working. Sharon, with her gentle soul, believed she had found true friends. As she laughed with them, shared stories and trusted them completely. One afternoon, while sitting by the river, Adaobi brought up the topic about the snake song. "Sharon, have you heard about the snake song?" she asked, her tone casual. Sharon tilted her head in curiosity. "Snake song? What's that?" When Adaobi and Ezen noticed that Sharon was completely unaware of what they were talking about, they quickly changed the topic. "No, it was some years back that the villagers used to sing that song. It's not something that happens now," Ezen said to Sharon, forcing a fake smile onto her face. The atmosphere shifted and the topic was instantly switched to the Santa Market. Santa Market is a huge market, full of everything you can imagine. Anything you're looking for can be found there, Adaobi continued enthusiastically. Sharon listened intently, her curiosity growing with every word. "They sell Sharon at a cheap price and also fancy clothes," Adaobi added. Hearing this, Sharon's curiosity piqued. She couldn't help but express her thoughts. "I wish I could go there one day," Sharon said dreamily. "We can take you along the next time we go," Ezen offered warmly. "Besides, our village festival is coming soon. We'll be buying clothes and jewelry for it so you can join us." Sharon's face lit up with excitement and a little bit sad because she knew this might not work. She knew her parents would never allow her to leave the house so easily. After they all left the river, Adaobi and Ezen met up again in secret. "So, Sharon doesn't even know about the song we sing to the snake whenever the villagers go to Santa Village Market?" Adaobi whispered to Ezen, her tone filled with curiosity and mischief. Ezen nodded, a sly smile playing on her lips. This might just be the perfect opportunity to teach her the big lesson. The Cantata Festival was fast approaching. It was the most anticipated event of the year, filled with music, dancing and feasting. For years, Adaobi and Ezen had been the stars of the festival, their beauty celebrated by everyone. But this year was different. The village elders announced that Sharon, now considered the most beautiful girl in Fasatu, would be one of the main guests. She would sit with the elders and the king, wear the finest clothes and dance for the villagers. When Temi and Kemi heard this, they were so happy for their daughter and could not wait to witness the festival. Adaobi and Ezen were furious. Their jealousy reached new heights as they realized the festival would no longer be their moment to shine. "We can't let this happen," Adaobi hissed to Ezen one night. "Sharon has to disappear before the festival." Ezen nodded, her face dark with envy. We'll use the snake song. She doesn't know it and that's our chance. A day before the festival, Temmie and Kemi decided to go to Santa Market to buy clothes for themselves and for their daughter, Sharon, to wear on the festival day. Early that morning, Kemi called Sharon. We're going to Santa Market today to buy clothes for the festival. Tell us what kind of clothes you'd like to wear and we'll help you get them at the market, said, her voice filled with care. Sharon hesitated for a moment, her face softening with a hint of longing. Mommy, please. I want to come with you to the market, she pleaded. No, my daughter, the roads are tough and the journey might not be easy. Stay at home and don't go anywhere until we return, Kemi replied firmly, giving her daughter a gentle but final look. As Kemi and Temmie were about to leave, they had walked some distance from the house when Sharon appeared at the entrance, standing there with a downcast face. Temmie noticed her immediately and moved closer. The villagers have told us about the road to Santa Village. It's dangerous and we can't risk taking you along. Please stay at home and don't go anywhere while we're gone, Temmie said softly, his voice filled with concern. And also be careful around the villagers as we are still strangers here. Sharon's face softened as she listened to her father. She understood the concern in his voice, and with a deep sigh, she reluctantly accepted their decision. Temmie and Kemi left the house. And moments later, Adaobi and Ezen arrived. We've come to pick you up so we can head to Santa Market together, Adaobi said to Sharon, offering her a soft smile. Sharon, still feeling conflicted, hesitated. But my mother told me to stay home. She said they would buy the clothes for me and the road is dangerous. I can't go with you. Adaobi and Ezen exchanged glances of jealousy flickering in their eyes as they hear her talking about the clothes she will be wearing at the festival. If you don't come with us to Santa Market, you'll miss out on so much. There are things we've planned to show you and we won't stay long, Ezen said, trying to sound reassuring. Sharon, hearing that they wouldn't stay long, hesitated for only a moment before making up her mind. She decided to go with Adaobi and Ezen, hoping she could get there and back before her parents returned, so they wouldn't know she'd left the house. Before they left, Sharon asked one last question. My parents said the road to Santa is dangerous. Is that true? She asked, her voice tinged with concern. Instead of being honest about the narrow and treacherous road, Adaobi and Ezen exchanged a quick glance and smiled sweetly. There's nothing to worry about. As long as you're with us, the road is not dangerous. We'll all go there and come back safely. They reassured her, their smiles sweet but misleading. Sharon, still unsure, but trusted them and followed the two girls, unaware of the dangers that lay ahead. They started their journey to Santa Village, laughing and talking along the way. But when they reached the spot where the snake usually appeared, Adaobi and Ezen's faces suddenly changed. They stopped talking and began singing a song that Sharon didn't understand. The trees started shaking violently, and Sharon felt something was about to happen. She wanted to sing along, but she didn't know how. She looked at her friends, hoping they would help her, but their faces were desperate. If Adaobi or Ezen had carried Sharon on their back, the snake would leave without harming anyone, even if she couldn't sing the song. Adaobi and Ezen knew this, but carrying her wasn't part of their plan. Then the giant snake appeared. It noticed Sharon wasn't singing and no one of them were carrying her, so it quickly grabbed her, disappearing into the forest. Adaobi and Ezen continued their journey to Santa Village, heading to the market to buy their fancy clothes. When Temmie and Kemi returned home and found Sharon missing, they were frantic. They searched the village, asking everyone if they had seen her. Some villagers who usually see Sharon with Adaobi and Ezen at river directed Temmie and Kemi to their house. Adaobi and Ezen pretended not to see Sharon. Deep down in their heart they were happy. Happy that the girl who once stole their place in the village was now gone. They came and everything went perfectly even without Sharon's presence. Yet her parents, Kemi and Temmie, refused to give up hope. Their hearts ached, but their resolve remained strong. They would find their daughter. One morning they made a decision. They would trace the narrow road that led to Santa Village, the forbidden place where the snake often appeared. They feared the worst. Maybe Sharon had not listened to their warnings. Maybe she had went to Santa on her own, and the unthinkable had happened. Their journey began at dawn. The narrow road stretched before them, silent and eerie. Tears rolled down their cheeks, blending with the dust of the path. Their hearts carried a heavy load, fear, pain, but above all, hope. They prayed silently that they would find their daughter alive. As they walked, an old woman appeared in the distance, moving slowly along the narrow road. Her face was wrinkled with time, and her movements were deliberate. When she saw Kemi and Temmie, she stopped and stared at them, her gaze deep and knowing. Without a word from the couple, the old woman called out, "You are looking for Sharon, your beautiful daughter." You can't find her because she has already been taken away by the snake. The old woman said, her voice filled with sorrow. Unknown to Adaobi and Ezen, this old woman had been sitting nearby, silently watching everything unfold. She had seen it all the moment the snake took Sharon away. Your daughter made her enemies her friends, and those enemies sacrificed her to the snake, the old woman revealed. Her words struck like lightning. Temi and Kemi listened, their faces pale and their hearts heavy with despair. No. They knew who had betrayed their only daughter. Temi lowered his head, regret flooding his mind. I should have let the village elders teach her the snake song. Alongside with me and my wife the other day, he muttered. He remembered the day the elders had come to their house, offering to teach the snake song. But he had refused, thinking it unnecessary. Now that decision haunted him. If Sharon had known the song, this tragedy might never have happened. The old woman spoke again, her voice serious and tinged with pity. There is a way to make the snake release your daughter. If it hasn't eaten her already, she said. What is it? Please tell us. She is our only child. We will do anything to bring her back. Temi and Kemi begged, tears streaming down their faces. The old woman sighed deeply. You must go to the forest where the snake lives. Stay there for 3 days and nights, singing the snake song without stopping. On the 3rd day, the snake will have mercy and release your daughter with no time to lose, the couple agreed. The old woman led them to the edge of the forest and they started singing the snake song. Temi and Kemi ventured into the dense, dark forest, their hearts full of fear but also determination. For 3 days, they sang the snake song tirelessly, their voices echoing through the eerie woods. On the 3rd day, just as dawn broke, the snake appeared. It moved slowly, its scales glistening in the dim light. To their relief, Sharon was with it, unharmed though visibly shaken. The snake, as if moved by their devotion, released her and slithered back into the shadows. Temi and Kemi wept with joy. Embracing their daughter tightly, they had her back and she was safe. They left the forest together, their hearts lighter, and headed straight to the king's palace to report what had happened. When the king heard their story, his face grew stern. He ordered an emergency meeting and summoned every villager to the palace. The news spread quickly and soon the palace courtyard was packed with people. No one knew why the king had called them so urgently. When Adaobi and Ezen arrived at the palace and saw Sharon standing there with her parents, their faces turned pale. Shock and fear gripped them, for they never expected Sharon to return. They knew their secret was exposed and they would not escape punishment. Adaobi and Ezen were brought before the king, trembling with fear. The king's voice was stern as he spoke. Evil people like you do not deserve a place among the good people of this village. Your jealousy led you to commit an unforgivable act, but justice will prevail, and you will not escape the consequences of your actions. The king then gave his orders. Palace guards, bind their hands and feet. Seal their mouths so they cannot sing the snake song. Take them to the narrow road leading to Santa Village. The snake will deal with them as it sees fit. The guards obeyed immediately. Adaobi and Ezen were tied up and taken to the infamous narrow road. When they reached the path, the snake appeared, sensing their presence. Unlike Sharon, who was spared through the mercy of her parents' love and sacrifice, Adaobi and Ezen were not shown the same kindness. The snake swallowed them immediately, and their lives came to a swift and just end. Sharon returned home to her parents, safe and happy. The family embraced their second chance with gratitude, determined to leave the painful experience behind. Adaobi and Ezen's fate became a story passed down through generations in the village. It served as a powerful lesson about the dangers of jealousy and the consequences of betrayal. Their story reminded everyone that evil deeds do not go unpunished. What lesson did you learn from this story? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. Thank you for watching.